Hi guys, so today's video is going to be a Q&A. I know that I've not been, oh my gosh. Okay, so my neighbors are, I think they're moving, so if you can hear them, they're literally like right outside my window. That's why, but I am starting to post more often now. If you guys did not see my last video, it was just kind of like a why I've been gone, a life update, all of that stuff. So if you haven't seen that, you can check that out down below. But I thought it would be fun to come back with a Q&A, just updating you guys on my life. So I asked you guys on my Instagram to ask me questions that had to do with the new year or just anything you guys wanted to know. And you guys asked a ton of questions. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I feel so far from the camera and I'm normally like really close. So I'm sitting on my bed, we're getting extra cozy. I have my fresh cup of coffee. I don't know if you can see it steaming, but it's really hurting my hand. And this mug is from my sweet, sweet roommate, Alexa, and it says I'm a lot cooler on the internet, and it is so true. So for some reason, I'm in an amazing mood right now, and I think it's because I just finished a test that was like really weighing on me, and I'm not saying I feel confident about how I did. If anything, I think I did really bad on it. If I have the grade out, by the time this video goes up, I'll put it right here, because I probably didn't do that great, and I do not excel in school, but that's fine. But I'm just happy to have it over with and done and have it be stress-free, and it is a good Thursday. So I'm going to start off with these questions in no particular order. I just went through and screenshotted the ones that I wanted to answer. So the first 4 screenshots that I saw were my roommates, and Alexa said, "Can you make dinner soon?" "I will try." And Reagan said, "What's your favorite thing about me?" And then Alexa said, "What's your least favorite qualities of Reagan?" And then Alexa said, "What are your favorite qualities of Alexa?" So my favorite qualities of Alexa is that she's super encouraging. She will tell you that everything's good. If you're stressed, she's so great. She's so fun. Favorite quality of Reagan is that she's just goofy. I love her heart. She's just so herself. And there you go, guys. You wanted to know? I'll tell you. Okay, so since this is a 2020 type Q&A, I'm going to start with a very typical question, and it says, what are your goals for this year? My biggest goals are, 1, really pursuing my YouTube channel more, actually caring about it and putting out content that I really love, not just content that I feel like I need to put out. So that's a big goal of mine. Another goal is contentment. This is something I've always struggled with, like always, and I'm sure I always will, but I know that God can really like put that in my heart just to allow me to be content where I am, because even whenever I get to the next stage, I'm not going to be content. There's going to be something else that I want, and so I just want to be able to enjoy my time here. What's another like tangible goal? My goal is to get fit again. I've been doing that. I've been working out a lot, but to actually like get fit, not like meaning body image, but just the feeling of being fit, eating healthier, just the whole idea of just taking care of my body. So I had so many questions about me and Sam. Like literally I would say that was like 80% of the questions. It was hilarious. So I don't know how many I chose in here. I think I chose a couple. But this one says, how would you say you've improved from your relationship with Sam? So if you don't know, Sam is my boyfriend. We've been dating for over 8 months now. It's long distance, and he's super amazing. I would say one big thing that I've gotten better about is just being more disciplined. He inspires me to be more disciplined, and I think just our relationship does in general. Like, it's not like we read the Bible together or anything, or it's like, hey, let's both read through John. No, it's just knowing the way that he lives his life. It makes me want to live my life better. A huge thing that I've genuinely improved on is actually sharing the gospel with people, actually talking to people about Jesus that I don't know, but just from conversation. And I've had moments where like it just happens to come up, but I'm saying like being intentional about sharing the gospel, and that has something that has directly flourished out of our relationship. So I think that's the biggest thing, and I think it's super cool that like that has happened. So somebody asked, what did you learn in 2019 that will help you grow in 2020? So in 2019, oh my gosh, I learned so much. I just learned to trust God and that His grace is sufficient. Like, meaning I saw His grace in my life, and then the beginning of 2020, it was like being able to actually like not accept His grace, but truly live in His grace. That's a good way of putting it. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, just seeing that His ways are higher than mine, and that He knows, He's in control, and like trusting Him in the process of that. Because I can look back now and go, oh, but whenever I'm in it, I'm like, what's going on? So I think that's the biggest thing that I took from 2019 and that I will take into the year 2020. I love this question. What is your word for 2020? So if you guys didn't know, I kind of like set a word every year, and I think a lot of people do this. I just think it's good just to kind of focus on a certain thing. Last year, my word was patience, and it was just a good reminder to be like, just to consistently pray for it, I guess. And so my word this year is steadfast faithfulness. I know that's 2 words, but I chose this just because if I am steadfast in my faithfulness to God, to what He calls me to, then I will be all things encompassed. I will be patient. I will be content. I will be joyful. I will have peace, like all these things. And so it's kind of like a broad term that encompasses a lot, but it's very specific in meaning like what that means to me. And what I think that means is just being steadfast in what God tells us to do, reading in His Word, talking to and praying to Him, being willing to share the light of the world with many people. And all of those other things will be a result of that. So that's why I chose that word. I want to encourage you guys, even if, you know, we're over a month into the year 2020, but if you guys don't have a word, it's really good to just choose one so that you can just remember to pray for that specific thing. At least that's what it is for me. Or just to remind you of something, you know? Okay, so this was a really weird thing. I don't know why this question was asked so much, but I had so many people asking me about my ACL journey. So if you guys didn't know, which I bet you don't unless like you saw a video from a really long time ago, but I actually had torn my ACL and my meniscus in high school while playing soccer. It was like my junior year. And so I had surgery, I had all those things, and so I'll just like kind of briefly talk about it. So I played competitive soccer kind of like my whole life. That's like what I did, which I feel like a lot of people are surprised about. And so I was in our state game. It was a like knockout game where whoever lost is going home. And the state tournament is like what you work towards all year long. And it was the second half, first 5 minutes, we were up. We were winning by 2 goals, or it was 2-1, I think, or something like that. I clearly remember my coach was like, Jaclyn, are you good for another half? And I was like, yeah, I am. Let's go. And so we started off the half, and I was like super just into the game. Like I so remember this. And long story short, I just was dumb. It was kind of my fault. I like tried to put my body in front of the girl. I put my leg out, and she ran through my leg, and it just tore my ACL and my meniscus. It was very painful. And the surgery was like the worst part of it all though, so I couldn't drive for like months. It was terrible, but the whole like recovery part was pretty bad because you kind of had to like get the range of motion back. If you didn't know, like they like take a rope and kind of tie it around your foot and slowly like pull it, and if you can get, you know, a couple centimeters, it's like amazing that you can do that. It was just a lot going to physical therapy 3 times a week or twice a week, I don't remember. But I really enjoyed it. I loved the relationships that I made at my physical therapy place. It wasn't anything extremely detrimental to me. It kind of just helped me decide, well, I guess I'm not doing soccer in college, which I wasn't super set on doing soccer in college anyway, but that just kind of helped me go, okay, because it was something I had like maybe thought about, I just didn't know. So that kind of decided it for me. So yeah, that's my ACL journey. Comment down below if you have had your ACL torn or just like anything in your knee torn where you had to have like a reconstructive surgery, because girl, I feel you. It's a hard one. So somebody asked, what classes am I taking this year? So I'm taking a lot of classes. Actually, I'm taking the most hours I've ever taken, and a lot of them are in-class classes. You guys know I usually like do online classes, but I could only get in one this semester. So I'm taking a management class. It's called Management Information Systems. That one is the one that's online. It's just like a ton of Excel stuff. And I'm taking Management Operations, which is really hard. That's like another stats class pretty much. And then I'm taking Management Concepts, Theories, and Practices, which I feel like is just the basic management class. I'm taking Marketing 1, I'm taking Finance, and then I'm taking this like Success Seminar class thing. So those are all the classes I'm taking. A lot of them are management classes, and I'm learning I do not like management. My workload isn't too heavy. I don't have a ton of homework, but I do have a lot of tests, and most of my grades are test grades, and I'm terrible at taking tests, so we'll see how my GPA does this semester. So another question, and it says, how are you and Sam? I would say we are doing great. I love our relationship. I love him so much. He's amazing. I'm constantly like, I am so confused, like how I got you. Just like, I just didn't think you existed. So he's absolutely amazing. He's the best. I could go on for days and days and days talking about it. Somebody asked a really great question. It says, tips for waiting until marriage. Okay, I'm gonna try and keep this like PG here. So if you don't even know what that means, waiting until marriage just means that I am saving myself from having sex before marriage. And the reason that I do this is not just because the Bible says that you should do that, but because I want to be able to fully give my all to my husband, not compare him to anybody else, and just have that intimate layer with him that I've never had with anybody else. What I mean by like saving myself, I mean truly, truly saving myself. Like not even doing things that, you know, some people are like, is it not? No, like if it's questionable, just don't do it. That's what I mean. I would say my biggest tip if you are in a relationship is to set boundaries that aren't like, hey, we're gonna go this far, but then we'll stop here. It's like setting boundaries to where you're not even putting yourself in a position to mess up. I've been kind of wanting to do a video with Sam just all about specific boundaries. So if you guys would want to see that, let me know down below. We can go through our specific boundaries because I feel like people talk about boundaries, but they never give specifics. And I'm just like, I'm just curious what you do. And I truly do believe it depends on the person. It depends on their background and your background and the amount of self-control that you have, but I just think it's wise to not put yourself in a situation where it's like really, really hard to stop continuing on. So those are my tips, is setting like boundaries where even if you mess up that boundary, it's not like, oh, we've had sex now. Okay, so for example, me and Sam for a while had a boundary that it was like no kissing in his apartment. And one time we didn't even realize that we had just walked in the door and we had accidentally kissed. I talked about this in our Q&A. Well, not like accidentally kissed, you don't accidentally kiss, but we had kissed, but we had forgot that we were in the apartment, and we both looked at each other like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we just did that. But us kissing in his apartment, we literally just walked in the door. We were in the living room. He has roommates, like wasn't as if like we just messed up and now there's no going back. You see what I'm saying? So we set a boundary that was very clear. Even if we were to mess it up, then it's not like we've completely destroyed everything. And so not saying that with the sense of like, oh, well, we can just mess this up all the time. Like, no, like our boundaries are strict and we keep to them. Okay, so somebody asked, what's your favorite clothing store? So I kind of have a couple. I've really been loving Madewell lately. Love Target, love Aerie. I love Altered State. I feel like I'm missing a lot. Free People, Urban Outfitters. I literally have so many. Like the ones that are underrated, Hollister, Abercrombie and Fitch, all those. You can find some great stuff there, just saying. Okay, somebody asked, have you or do you struggle with anxiety? If so, any tips to overcome it? By the way, love you so much. Thank you. I love you too. Yes, I actually talked about this if you didn't see my last video. In my last video, I kind of really opened up a lot about my anxiety. And I've considered making a full video on it, how I fight it, the tips that I have, because there are ways to overcome it, and there are helpful tips to deal with it. And I'm talking about not just the feeling side, but the actual psychological side of it, things that I've dealt with before. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. But my biggest tip to a normal person is just pray. Pray, 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 pray. That's my biggest tip. And at first it's like I'm praying, nothing's happening, but if you continue to pray and you pray not necessarily the right things, there's no like right things, but if you set your mind on things above, I'm telling you, it really, really changes your perspective. If you tell yourself truth, examples like, I am a daughter of the King because I believe that Jesus Christ died for my sins. I no longer have a reason to worry. I can be full of joy. I can rejoice because I am set free. I'm no longer a slave to sin. You just keep telling yourself truth that you know over and over again, repeating Bible verses to yourself. God, I can approach your throne of grace with confidence and you will give me grace and mercy in a time of need. Things like that, that you're just telling yourself over and over again, and it's their truths, and then you begin believing them. Okay, so somebody asked, what was your favorite part about Passion? Haha, I was there and saw Sam, but I couldn't find you. Aw, I'm sure Sam would have loved if you went up to him. I'm so serious. I wish I could have seen you. I met a lot of you guys at Passion, which was so cool. What was my favorite part about Passion? If you guys don't know what Passion is, it's a big conference for 18 to 25-year-olds, and there were over 65,000 people gathered to worship Jesus, which is awesome. And it was in Atlanta this year. So my favorite part was definitely Hillsong whenever they performed at midnight. And just like going into the new year worshiping Jesus, there's nothing else I would want to do. And it was just awesome getting to see Hillsong United again. I love Hillsong. So yeah, that was definitely my favorite part. Okay, so somebody asked, what do you find is the best way to move on from the past versus activities, etc.? Wow, that's a really good question. So I know that everybody's past is different. I think the biggest way to move on from those things is to, one, surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with people that encourage you and that know your struggles, because they can encourage you to not like get stuck in those struggles. And then she'd asked for verses, so I'm assuming that she's a believer. I think the biggest thing that you can do is just set your mind on things above and just know that like you are freed in Christ. Like you are no longer bound by your sin, but you are a new creation in Him. I think that if you just set your mind on things above, it will be harder to look at the things that are in your past because you're looking forward and you're looking in the current. And I know it's really hard. Trust me, I've been there. But I'll put some verses on the screen that will help you if you want to check them out. Somebody asked, what was your biggest accomplishment from 2019? Wow. Okay, what was my biggest accomplishment? I think something that was really big for me was getting to work with Elevation Worship and actually go to one of their live recordings and stuff. It just made me really happy to know that like, oh my gosh, the things that I'm doing are good. Like not that they're being seen, but like there's success in them, not for me, but knowing that God's name is being known, if that makes any sense. So I think that's the biggest thing. What else? I got a manager, which I don't think that's an accomplishment, but it just made me realize like, whoa, how cool is this job that I love and that I get to do and that I get extra help. It just shows that it's kind of growing and it's bigger than just me. So that's super cool. I'd say that's a really big accomplishment. I'm not really sure what else. Okay, so somebody asked about my spiritual struggles. So I feel like I've had a lot more recently, which again, if you saw my last video, you know this, but one of my biggest spiritual struggles was just kind of being stuck in shame. And because I was being stuck in shame, I was unable to see God's grace, because that's what it does. It's really, shame is just lies. So I was being stuck in lies and not truly being able to feel God's grace in my life, and not just feel, because feelings are, you can't trust feelings, but see it, because I was so looking this way when God is just saying, hey Jaclyn, look up, you know? So that was a big struggle for me. My prayer life was a big struggle. It was very like good and then bad and then good and then bad. But I feel like that was a really big struggle. I think currently, right now, like literally right now, my biggest struggle is contentment. Oh my gosh. I really need to become content with things, and I know that I can. It's just because I keep saying, what if this, but I'd rather have this. And it's like, no, I just need to be thankful for where I am. And it's really a mindset. So that's something I'm really struggling with right now, just to be real with you guys. Okay, so that is it for today's video. Sorry if there's like a weird shadow over my face. I normally don't film at this time, so I feel like the camera is like right in, like I'm in the shadow of the camera because my window is right there. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so happy to be back and filming. It feels so good. And definitely stick around if you guys are not subscribed, and I will have everything linked down below, all my social media, all that stuff that you need to know. If you're wondering where this is from, it's from Target. I got it on clearance. I would really recommend checking it out. It's so cozy. I think I actually linked it in my last haul that I did, if you were curious. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.